You might have heard turtles get intentionally run over by drivers more than snakes. But is that really true? Well, I once ran my own experiment to find out. Well, I started by buying a very realistic rubber turtle and a rubber snake, as well as a rubber tarantula just to spice things up. I also used a big leaf as my control. Next, I alternated placing each of them on the shoulder of the road while I stood from a safe distance collecting data. And after hours of counting thousands of cars and also observing some interesting interactions, this is what I found. 94% of drivers did nothing and just drove by. But that remaining 6% are cold-blooded rubber animal killers. Of those, 90% were trucks and SUV. Only about 10% of the time was it a car that did the squishing. And the breakdown was tarantulas getting hit the most by far, and then snakes, and then turtles thankfully coming in last. And hence my hope in humanity is at least a little restored. I gave 3 of my subscribers the key to Crunch Labs while I head out for a couple days. Try not to blow the place up.
Aren't you forgetting something? Thank you.
All right, it's been 2 days. Let's see what we got.
Hey, Mark. Welcome back.
What is this?
And you'll need this.
And I guess I just drop it here?
Yeah.
Easy enough. Yes. This bowling ball to get me a strike every time. Because last week, before I made it, I went to a bowling birthday party and got absolutely humiliated by a bunch of 8-year-olds for my total lack of natural ability. I mean, these kids were freakishly good. So I went home that day with a bowling ball in my backpack and a clever idea. I cut the bowling ball in half, hollowed it out, then added a counterweight controlled by a servo motor that I could control with this transmitter. And then I went back to the bowling alley to regain my street cred. But to make sure these kids didn't suspect anything, I taped the controller to my back so all I had to do was lean to get a strike. And thanks to mechanical engineering, I'm once again the coolest kid at the party. Today I helped Mr. Beast conquer his fear of heights. It all started when I gave him a tour of my secret layer Crunch Labs, and after I showed him what I call the fireman's piston, he started to reveal his true colors.
Oh no. Bro, I'm terrified. How high is this?
Turns out the dude who spent 50 hours buried alive was wimping out over an 8-foot drop.
I'm scared.
But if he just had more trust in the laws of physics, he wouldn't need to worry, because when you step off, you pull down on the rope, and it pulls up on this plate, but all the air in the chamber here has to get squeezed out of this tiny hole at the top, and that creates a traffic jam. And just like traffic jams in real life slow down your car, this one will slow you down to a nice easy landing.
You just reminded me that I'm deathly scared of heights.
And at this point, I could have put him at ease by telling him just how many 5-year-olds had already made the jump, but then again, watching him suffer was way more fun.
Bro, I hate this. I'm never doing that again. There you go, you got your freaking video.
I'm about to hit 30 million subscribers. There's almost 50 left. There it is. Oh, gosh. Now there's almost 10 left. We hit it. Ah! Yeah! Let's freaking go! Now for the grand finale. What you just saw, but 30 times bigger. 3 more subscribers. 2, 1. Somebody subscribe! Here's how to win a jelly bean guessing contest every time.
Hey, guess how many jelly beans?
3,790.
379.
600. 550. 550.
Mark, how many jelly beans?
Oh, I got a trick for this. Now, if you look closely, you can see me performing the trick. Because if you just draw an imaginary line across the width of the jar, and then count how many jelly beans intersect that line, and then do the same thing for the adjacent side, and then vertically going up the jar, then you just multiply those 3 numbers together, and it should get you right in the ballpark to make your final guess. So you just have to make those quick calculations and take your shot. All right, my guess, 1,600.
What? You're so close. You're only 21 off.
Oh, yes! And then all that's left to do is down the remaining 21 jelly beans as a hardcore flex. This is a slinky, and this is the world's first infinite slinky staircase. And I made it because as a kid, I would always try and see how many stairs I could get my slinky to climb down. With my record sadly always maxing out at 7 or 8, I decided now that I'm an engineer, it was time to avenge this childhood frustration to set an unbeatable world record. First thought I had was using a treadmill tilted at just the right angle. But the problem with that is there was very little repeatability because the landing surfaces were inclined, unlike actual stairs. So to solve that issue, I tried an actual escalator. And although that worked a little better, the distance between the steps wasn't ideal and the speed was a little too slow. And that's when we just decided to make our own prototype of an escalator I could turn with a hand crank. And that prototype worked well because we got the stair spacing dialed in, but we were having issues keeping the slinky aligned, which is where these 3D printed self-centering cones came in handy. Because if we put one on each stair step, the slinky would self-align and then be in the perfect position to fall to the next step. And after a few last-minute adjustments and replacing the hand crank with an actual motor, we made the final version to test if we could beat my childhood record of 8 steps. Alright, it's been 48 hours and I'm happy to report this slinky has climbed 208,000 stairs, which is 29,000 times more than I ever got as a kid. This is a pound of Jell-O, but this is 30,000 pounds of Jell-O. And I made it because ever since I was a kid, I've always wondered what it would look like to belly flop into the world's largest pool of Jell-O. I started by digging a hole in my brother's backyard, but soon realized I needed a completely new way of making Jell-O for this to work. Because if I made it the normal way, where you boil water on your stove, then mix in the powder, then refrigerate it for it to actually get firm, it would take 3,000 batches and 3 months to pull off. So to scale things up, I took 6 55-gallon drums with a custom welded spigot and a custom propane burner stand. Then I filled each drum with water, gelatin powder, and red food coloring, and once it boiled, released it layer by layer into the pool every day for 7 days. Now, as for the refrigeration, I teamed up with Mother Nature, because after studying the weather almanac for his city, I chose the exact 3-week window in the year where the weather could cool the Jell-O to the perfect fridge temperature each night without freezing it. It was so much freaking hard work to pull this off, but I was so stoked it finally worked because it turns out belly flopping on a Jell-O pool is actually way cooler than I'd always imagined.